Imagine standing atop a serpentine dragon of stone and earth, stretching endlessly into the horizon, where the wind whispers tales of emperors, invaders, and an empire that refused to bow. Welcome to the Great Wall of China, the fortress that defined an empire's destiny. For over 2,000 years, this colossal barrier wasn't just bricks and mortar. It was China's ultimate answer to the thunder of hooves on the northern steppes. A defiant line drawn in the sand against the unknown. But let's rewind, because this wasn't some overnight Instagram-worthy project. It started back in the chaotic days of the Warring States, around the 7th century BC, when rival Chinese kingdoms began slapping up basic earthen walls to keep their neighbors from sneaking in for a midnight raid. Fast forward to 221 BC, and enter Qin Shi Huang, the guy who basically hit the reset button on China. He unified the warring states, declared himself the first emperor, and said, "Enough of these patchwork defenses." He ordered his general Ming Dynasty to connect and expand those old walls into one massive shield against the xiongnu nomads' fierce steppe warriors, whose descendants would echo through. Turkic tribes like the Turks, horsemen so swift and relentless that Chinese emperors lay awake at night, wondering if the next dawn would bring arrows instead of breakfast. Picture this. Hundreds of thousands of laborers, soldiers, peasants, even convicts, hauling massive stones and ramming earth under the blistering sun or freezing winds. Historians say up to 400,000 souls toiled on Qin's version alone. And yeah, some didn't make it home for dinner. The wall snaked over mountains, deserts, and rivers for thousands of miles, with watchtowers every few hundred yards where guards could spot trouble from afar, and light signal fires faster than your group chat blows up. It wasn't just about keeping the peace. It was paranoia wrapped in patriotism. Those northern nomads, including early Turkic confederations, lived for the raid their mounted archers could strike like lightning, loot the granaries, and vanish before the emperor finished his morning tea. The Chinese built the wall out of raw fear of those unstoppable Turkic horsemen and their kin, turning the frontier into a no-go zone that let the heartland flourish in relative safety. Think of it as the world's first oversized keep-out sign, but with better engineering and fewer dad jokes. Well, mostly. Jump ahead a few dynasties, and the Han emperors picked up where Qin left off, beefing up the defenses during their wars with the xiongnu. They even tried diplomacy, marriage alliances, and the occasional bribe, but when that failed, it was back to the wall. By the time the Ming Dynasty rolled around in the 14th century, after kicking out the Mongols who'd briefly ruled China, the fear kicked into overdrive. The Ming poured resources into a stone and brick masterpiece we recognize today, taller, tougher, with cannons and everything. They weren't just scared of Mongols this time. Echoes of those same Turkic steppe raiders lingered in the collective memory. The wall became a symbol of resilience, a way to control trade routes along the Silkroad and keep the empire's destiny firmly in Chinese hands. It protected farms, cities, and the very idea of a civilized Middle Kingdom from the chaos beyond. But here's where history gets a little cheeky. For all its grandeur, the wall wasn't foolproof. Spoiler alert, Genghis Khan and his crew found ways around or through the gaps, proving that no barrier beats bad strategy. As one old Reddit quip goes, the Great Wall is like that long-lasting Chinese product you hear about, except sometimes the nomads still crashed the party. Yet, it wasn't all doom and gloom. The wall shaped China's destiny in ways that still echo today. It fostered a sense of unity, encouraged internal development, and let scholars, poets, and inventors thrive without constant interruptions from horseback invaders. Watchtowers doubled as relay stations for messages, turning the empire into a connected powerhouse. And the human cost? Brutal, sure, but those builders left behind a legacy so epic that even today, tourists hike its ridges gasping for breath and muttering, "Are we there yet?" Only 21,000 more kilometers to go, in classic dad joke fashion. Or that viral zinger from history class. My teacher tried to tell me a joke about the Great Wall, but it was too long to remember. Light-hearted as those punchlines are, they capture the awe, the sheer audacity of a civilization that said, "We will not be conquered," and backed it up with millions of bricks. Through centuries of repairs, invasions, and imperial drama, the Great Wall stood as more than stone. It was a psychological fortress, a reminder that China's emperors would go to insane lengths to safeguard their world from the Turkic warriors and nomadic hordes who once made the steppes tremble. It defined borders, influenced policies, and even today sparks debates on whether it truly kept everyone out or just made the invaders work harder for it. In the end, this fortress didn't just protect an empire, it forged its identity, turning vulnerability into strength and fear into fortitude. So, next time you see those ancient battlements snaking across the hills, remember, they weren't built for glory alone. They were China's way of telling the world, "Not today, nomads." And in that stubborn, sprawling defiance lies the true destiny of an empire that still captivates us all.